Hi guys, super quick before we start this video. I know the lighting's horrible. It gets better when the actual segment starts. Segment, I don't know. Oh hi, welcome back. Welcome back. My name's Mara. Welcome to my channel. The video's gonna get started soon. Just want to say that I filmed a bunch of videos after finishing volume 2. And but I'm only releasing this one because I think it's the one that I really want to get out. But I will be referencing that, just saying, but the other videos don't exist. That represent, but I go over everything I need to go over in this video. Also, just in general, I post covers, original songs on the channel, so there's other just yapping stuff. So yeah. Also, I did love Volume 2. Upset in the possible direction that everything's going. At the end of the day, I don't know, maybe Byler's still possible. Whatever. I'll get into more of that, though, stuff like, it's more than just Byler's. There's a lot of stuff in Volume 2 and Stranger Things. And the Duffer Brothers and them being straight, writing this queer storyline. I get into all of that in this video, and yeah, I think good. Okay, bye, enjoy. Hey y'all, so I've made like way too many videos about Byler by now, but I keep having more to say. I don't know. In this video, I really want to talk about mainly just the obvious queer baiting that's happening with the show. I think, and also the dangers of I already made a video about this, but I think this highlights it even better about the problem with having queer characters written only by straight people, because it's clearly doesn't end up well. In an interview the Duffers did, this is what Ross Duffer said. He said a lot. He said there's a lot of shipping that's going on with the show. Blah 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 blah. For us writers, what's interesting is not who ends up with who. What's interesting to us is how our characters growing as people. Sure, you can go with fostering, sure, you know. Most of the time, the answer is finding strengths within themselves as opposed to finding strengths in someone else. That's very good, you know. You can still find strengths in yourself and love, but I don't have any problem with this, you know. When we're talking about will, those conversations that we have, how do we get will in a place we feel confident and strong, blah 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 blah. When we were growing up, shipping was not a thing. This is a new thing. Part of me likes it because they're passionate. When it's not really, that's the other stuff about when Will finds his power, what we were intending was not that his love for Mike gives him these powers, but his love for himself, obviously, you know. I will say a part of that was loving for himself that loves Mike, but this still obviously has to do with, but then it's something about himself that is in love with Mike, so then I feel like that's what I was saying, so then I don't know why, the whole thing with no, you're just my Tammy, I just barely a crush even, I was just but I thought the whole mantra thing was you show because he's finally loving that part of himself that is able to love. It's okay, sure, but that's not our main thing anyway. This is the main thing. Ross Duffer then says, it's more of an important message to put out to our younger viewers. When I'm thinking about my younger self and our struggle growing up, to put out a message that it's all right. It'll all be alright if this secret crush you have works out, versus you don't need that. Even if it disappoints some people, it's the more important message to put into the world. In case you didn't catch that, Ross is saying the more important message he should put out into the world is that crush you have with that person, you don't need that. To an extent, that's good, right? Because you don't need that. However, it really highlights the tone deafness of two straight guys when addressing queer storylines. Because you could have had this lesson of, like, you don't need that crush to be yourself with, like, a straight person. No, you chose it for Will specifically. The queer kids, the gay kid. You chose that storyline for him specifically. And it does matter because you chose this for him despite there being an ongoing trope in, like, countless media of it just being, like, the queer kid never gets, never gets to be in love. They don't get that big love story. Honestly, it is so, reading is, like, so tone deaf. Like, I think the last person who needs the lesson of you don't need that crush, is the gay kid. Like, I'm sorry, like, it's insane to act like queer people need the more representation of not having their feelings reciprocated. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's my thought process, at least. Like, it's insane that you think, yeah, the queer, like, that's who should represent this storyline. It's and I think that's a problem, because I think it doesn't come out, I generally don't think it comes out of a harmful place. I just think that when you are a straight man, right, you look at this thing and you're like, oh, when I was, like, dumped, or, like, I don't know, when my feelings weren't reciprocated, I'd have loved to hear this as a child. There is a difference between you always seeing, the heterosexual, like, couples, like, on TV, like, being in love and stuff, like, seeing that and then being like, well, what if they don't get together? Like, that's, like, something, like, that people don't see a lot. That could help. I don't think the queer kid, like, needs to have more of the lesson of learning of not having their feelings reciprocated. Like, that's, I don't think the queer kid needs to learn that lesson. Needs to be setting that message in the world. Like, it's, I think it's shown a lot in media. So, if that's it's like Byler's endgame, it's like, this is obviously why it's because there are two straight men directing the show, but I do think it's also the unfortunate results of them having this huge queer storyline, because it's like, I think that comment just says it all, really, about just tone deaf is not really understanding. Like, it's crazy to say, because it's like, you heard it, like, it's like, you don't need that. Even if it disappoints people, it's the important message to put out into this world for your younger self. For your younger self, it's the important message. For someone like Will, their younger self, it is not the important message. Because there's a difference of being like, seeing, like, the guy always get on TV and be like, oh, like, I sometimes don't get that, versus, like, growing up, hearing all the time, like, by so much media and, like, people often, depending on where you grow up, that just, like, because of who you are, because of how you're born, like, you shouldn't get that big love story and, like, it will never be reciprocated. I don't think those kids need to be taught that lesson on TV. I think what they need to see is to see that it's okay and that actually it's a good thing for, it's this empowering thing for Will to get the guy, not this opposite way around. Like, when you're told for a huge part of your life by people surrounding you and the media surrounding you that, your feelings will never be reciprocated, you don't need to be taught that. What it was nice to see on media instead is seeing that feelings be reciprocated and just being like, what, like, wow, that's awesome, like, I didn't know, like, seeing that stuff. And obviously the Duffer Brothers don't understand this, because it's very hard to, when you grow up quite differently, in a lot of aspects, quite differently from the character you were writing about would have. And it's like, they write this, but then it's like they don't, it's like this, like, they write it and then they're really good at writing the stuff that they do write, but then they don't like have it be for. Does that make like? Robin's like coming out thinking like to Steven's like season 3, great writing. It was great writing the entire like episode 4 with Will. It's great writing, but like at the end of the day, like fulfilling those characters, they don't do well because they just don't get experience. And it's like I think that's what it comes down to, unfortunately. Also, you talk about the way like this truly. I mean, maybe that'll be endgame. Like I don't remember. Like they're pulling clutch, but like no, like realistically, right? Byler not being endgame means that like the queer character Will Gay was used. Will was used to mend and uplift the straight ship. Like for like all of season. That was the entire season 4 arc basically. Because I was like crying, being really upset. That was the entire season 3. Like, and then he doesn't. And then his fulfillment just like loving himself, but like rather than actually like being loved, like that sucks. And then the only like last character gets like a relationship with a side character developed off screen, and the only gay character ends up like, you know, Will's either gonna end up alone, which it's not a bad thing to be alone at all, but I think there's a difference between like, you know, Steve ending up alone, where he's like explored even a relationship, you know, and he's really found his friendship versus like Will, who's like obviously much of a situation he hasn't get to explore that obviously with him like being queer. It's like on TV, queer characters really get like a chance to explore that or see that one, but like so either he never gets to explore that, or God, I hope they don't like lazily write him like a boyfriend in like the epilogue. That's bad representation. Sorry, but like a show that's meant to uplift outcasts and has a huge like queer audience and fan base. It's like it's disappointing. Also, I have to mention, like, I don't think maybe the Duffers realize it. There are a lot of like, I guess myself included, but like a lot of like kids who maybe like live in like worse spots than I do, you know, like who really like see themselves like Mike and Will and stuff, and are really anxious, like they're excited for it, and like they're like, oh my, so excited to finally see that, you know, like on TV and stuff. And the fact that like it's just like no, but it's not reciprocated though, obviously, and thus you should be happy with yourself, which like yes, but like I think that's all when you told him like you'll never be reciprocated. You just want to hear like, oh, but you can love yourself though, because that feels almost like a letdown. Because like the one thing you've always hoped for, that you often like as a queer kid, you're told like not to, you're told that you like, don't deserve or like you shouldn't have. That's what the fulfilling part is, in seeing will get the big love story versus it being told to love you. That like it's great, but it's not the fulfilling arc you need for the queer character, for Will specifically, because like it's different. Like Elle, you know, being like, you know, pretty badly, who's like obviously, you know, as straight relationship, never been told like, oh, you don't aren't deserving of this. Maybe she has like in certain ways, but it doesn't have to like, to sexuality. Specifically, it's more like to like her being in a lab. But even that, she's not getting like confidence. Like she doesn't. We've shown she like doesn't. It just it's way. I mean, you know, I think it's still sad for her too, but also at the same time, well, one is okay. The character in general, like going away from the whole aspect of the whole thing. I don't even want to talk about this. Like that's not even the main point. But like, I guess Elle's like characters like very much. We've seen how she's like very very good, confident by like she doesn't need. Like it seems like she's honestly growing apart and like romantically. Like they're still great friends, but they're growing apart romantically. Like, she doesn't need that person in her life. You know what I mean? Will the opposite. Like he can grow his confidence, but still always need. You know, Mike, which is like the same thing with like Luke's and Max, but like that's not treated as like weak or like, you know, because they need each other, because they love each other. Like, you know what I mean? But like I don't know. That's just me. Also with Elsa, things like. Obviously, like, we're being straight, but also, it's more than that. It's, like, she's in, like, a lab, and I think her whole arc is, like, really learning not to love herself, but to not see herself as, like, it's in a way similar to Will's, except the difference is her arc is genuine, like, it's able to do the arc of self-confidence and being in like a good way without following the classic trope and therefore just being the disappointing like trope of just like queer kid like gets rejected but they find confidence in themselves. Like that's most classic. It's not anything new. It's just like the same. Like this point, like oh, of course they don't. But with Elle's like something, it's like oh yeah, she needs this. Also, like that's my look at it. At least I don't know. Like it is like they have similar arcs in ways, except Ella's actually straight. So then seeing her do it is like confidence versus seeing Will have the same of like self love, not like self love and like not he doesn't even get the guy. It's like. It's just like disappointing because like every queer character like not every but like so many queer characters all the way like get that ending, so it's not like this new thing of like especially with Elle. I think that's the difference too. Like she's a woman, obviously a lot of times like you have to be tied to a man, you have to do this and like whatever. It's like no, I'm breaking free from that. I'm doing like this. I can be by myself, independent. Cause that's stereotype with them. Like they have to be with a man to be happy, but she's like I don't need that. I can be independent. With queer people is often like a stereotype and trope to like they are unlovable. They can't have like the big romantic love story. But with Will, it could have been subverted, And I think that's the thing of like understanding what your character on, understanding bad tropes and understanding that thing that clearly the Duffers don't understand because again, unless something huge changes the finale, like so far it's looking like they're doing the classic trope with Will specific. They could have done it would have been more active with Elle. It's just he's seeing like again, just seeing like that role, like any like girl that felt like oh she has to be in the student role with like man no she doesn't need that, she's strong without it. Any like queer kids who like oh like they'll never like I'm lovable, I can't have that big love story. They'll see it with Will. Oh great, the whole point of the show lifting up outcasts, like seeing like fit like the heteronormative like roles in society, like with Karen and Ted, like it's supposed to be subverted. It's supposed to be like that's the good thing, and then like how is it just not? It's just it's annoying when because it's like I don't know. That's my take on it. I do think it all just comes back to the Duffers being straight cis men. Like it's to I think it's because it's just like I don't think they mean it like that. I think it just maybe I don't know I don't think it actually was malice. I think it's mainly just like the fact that they really don't. They're writing off their own. He's like, well, yeah, when I was younger, like I'd love to see things like right. You a straight man, like I don't think like you could use your own experience what you would like to see as a child for Will. It's just and if you want to do it again, working on Elle would be great. Working on it's like using your own experience for a character like Will. Just it shows a lack of like real understanding for the situation, and like but that's my little yap, guys. I've been posting way too much about like analyzing the show, like genuinely, guys. I've just been stuck in my brain. Anyway, I have more analysis kind of videos like this and just yapping and stuff on this channel. Consider subscribing if you want to, if you like me. And also post like original songs. That's my main thing, songs. I don't know why I'm doing so much like Stranger Things stuff. Comment down below if you want to see more. No, I mainly post original songs and do covers like Running Up the Hill and the Beginning, and more. Watch out for new covers, watch out for new videos, and if anything, if you like me, consider subscribing or liking this video if you want to, of course. Have a great day, evening, or night, wherever you are in this world. Love you. Bye!